Welcome to Danielle Scraps. My name is Danielle and I'm glad that you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, and that bell so you don't miss another tutorial. Today we're working on Paper Pumpkin, but in a whole new way. Check out this cute kit from December 2023. So this was part of my starter kit for joining as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I liked all of the colors in here. This was nice and bright and airy. It comes with all the card bases, envelopes, little cutouts, adhesive, things that you need to create 3 cards. But we're not making cards today. Today we're going to make a double layout. So I'm going to pick 2 of the card bases and I'm going to pair that up with pattern 15 from Make It From Your Heart, volume 6. So as you can see here, I've picked out a card base that has just sort of like a sky and then one that has flowers on the bottom. And I did that because I felt like the way it comes together, it transitions really nice from the bottom to the top, and you'll see what I mean here a little bit. Those are all the die cuts. We're going to put those in a container off to the side. These are all the cardstock pieces that I'm going to use. These will stay as 12 by 12. It's a blue color that is from the Subtle collection from Stampin' Up. This is a light green from that same family, and that is also from Stampin' Up. And it goes really, really nice with the greens that you find in those card bases. This will actually be the photo mats for our photos. I'm going to also pull in 2 12 by 12 white daisy pieces. And this is actually a close to my heart color. It's called Honey Butter, and that will be an accent piece for our page. So the first thing that I'm going to do is bring in our white daisy piece. I'm going to cut this at 11 3/4 by 11 1/2. And I will do that for both sides. You can see that I sort of tossed some little strips off to the side. I wouldn't really throw those away. Those will go in my bin, and I will use those for journaling strips later, either on this page or another. So those are handy things to keep off to the side. This is going to be our photo mat, like I said earlier, and that first cut that I'm going to make is 4 1/4. The next cut that I'll make is also going to be 4 1/4, and this will start the foundation for our photo mats. Once you have these 2 pieces cut, that last third piece can go off to the side. This is 4 1/4, 4 1/4 again, and we'll finish off this one as 3 1/4 or 3 1/4. And this will give us 3 photo mats, and we're going to need a total of 6. So this next 4 1/4 by 12 is going to be cut at 4 1/4, 3 1/4, and 3 1/4, and then the rest of the pieces are scraps. So we will have 6 4 by 4 photos and 3 4 by 4 photos and 3 3 by 4 photos. This is our accent piece. We're going to cut it at 10 1/2. We're going to turn it, and then we're going to cut again at 6 1/4, and then one more time at 2 1/2. And again, this is going to be an accent piece. It's going to sit behind our photos, and it's going to really sort of bring out those yellows in that card base. So the first thing that we're going to start with is we're going to get our base set up. When you put the white daisy on this piece or whatever piece that you choose to use, you want to have a nice 1/4 inch border all the way around 3 sides. So that's going to be flush right in the center. So since this is our left page, it'll be flush on the right. And when we do our left page, it'll be flush on the left. Hopefully it didn't confuse you too much. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and add some adhesive on here, and I already have the page turned exactly how it needs to go. I'm going to line that up so I see a 1/4 inch on 2 sides, and that should give me exactly what I need. Turn it to the right so it's flush on that center piece there. So I'm going to do rinse and repeat with the right page. And I'm going to come in so you can see there that it was too much and I needed to rotate that white daisy. I'm going to come in and we're going to play with removing some of this white because it's a lot of white, and really play in with some colors to pull it all together here shortly. So that's what our bases will look like. When we have our cards here, I already drew on the back of them where the spacing was, but as I cut these, it will tell you exactly what I'm cutting. So that first piece right there is going to be 1.5. I'm going to move that off to the side. My next cut is going to be 2, and that last piece is going to be scraps. I'm going to come in with my second card base, and that first piece is 2. This cut is going to be 2, and it will leave me with a 1.5 piece, which I will use. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut these. I'm going to cut left of that score mark, and that's going to be 2.5. And then I'm going to flip the score mark so it's on the right side, and then that one is going to be 2.5. This one is going to be 3.25. I'm going to flip it so that that score mark is not part of my piece, and that one is going to be 2.5. So I'll rotate these around, making 3.25 cuts or 2.5 cuts. So anything that's going to be on the left side of my page is going to be 1.5 by 3.25. Anything that's going to be on my right side of the page is going to be 2 by 3.25. So I hope that makes sense. So I will put some of those descriptions, those measurements in the descriptions below, just so you have a better feel for it. If you're a visual person like me, I need to see those things. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a dry run first. So here's that little pretty honey butter that's going to be that accent piece. And I'm just finding that magic place for it on my page here. And so here you can see why I chose to cut the pieces the way that I did. You have the sky feature on the base, and it goes light to dark, and then it filters into those really pretty flowers. And when you're putting this together, I just want you to know that you're not going to match the same size as that honey butter. So you want to leave a little bit of distance between the top and the bottom. Now, I wanted spacing between my pieces just so that you could see, your eyes could flow through and you didn't see cut lines per se. So I left spaces between there. The original pattern calls for all those pieces to be butted up together. And then, like I said, that honey butter is that little accent piece that your photo mats sit on top of. And so I'm just going to sort of do the same thing. I start by putting them top to bottom, and then I kind of squeeze them in and make that placement look really nice. So there's your 4x4 and your 3x4 photos down there. So I can now gauge where I have a lot of starkness from the white daisy, and I can figure out what I want to do to sort of fill in any of the voids. This is the stamp set that was included in the kit. So what I want to do now is I want to do a little bit of stamping, but I don't want this to overtake what's going on. So I'm going to pull in a little bit of a light gray. It's called Linen with Close to My Heart. And it's very, very light. And I am going to create just a little subtle background here on this honey butter page that I have. And the reason why I'm doing that is so that it has a little bit of character to it. And I don't want to draw the eye away from my pictures or those really pretty patterned papers that we created from the card bases, but I don't want it to be plain. So this is a nice way of adding a little bit of character without it being overpowering, and it blends nicely in with what you're working on. So I'm just going to randomly place those on my block, and I've never used a stamp set before, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp a few times on a scratch piece of paper just to sort of get the feel for how dark or how deep that color is going to be, and to sort of season it really quick before I use it. If I were to do this again, I would have made a mental note to turn my block. Instead, I did the same pattern all the way through, and it really doesn't really matter at the end of the day, just personal preference. I was trying to hurry and get this done because I had to go pick my kids up from school, and so I was trying to make sure that I was getting this in and still giving quality content. So next time I would probably rotate my block, like I said, just to sort of give it a more natural pattern feel instead of this same block style. Most of this gets covered up anyways, and just a few of it is peekaboo, and unless you're really looking for it on the finished layout, other than just creating a nice visual like blank filler. It doesn't really pop enough that people are going to say, oh my gosh, you didn't turn your black. Okay, so you can see how subtle that is, right? It's just enough to sort of fill in the void, right? So let's put these off to the side over here, and let's work on some of this darkness. So one of the things that I'm going to come and bring in here are some colors, and I'm going to do some blending. I thought at first I was going to go ahead and do the linen, and then I sort of played with it off the camera, and instead I brought in this Capri color from Close to My Heart, and I started blending with that. Yes, I did set my ink pad upside down on my other ink pad, so my linen now has Capri on it. It is what it is. So here I'm just blending just a little bit. I just want it in that lower left-hand corner. And it's going to be part of my visual triangle. So that's why I'm not doing the whole piece of it. I'm going to come in on the right side, which is where my title and my journaling are going to be. And it has the largest white area. And now I'm really going to focus in, and I'm going to make this a nice big solid area for blending in this Capri ink, which once blended and applied this way, it's not as dark, and so it marries really nice with that subtle blue that is from from Stampin' Up. It's going to take me a while to get used to not saying Close to My Heart. So I'm coming in with this circular motion, and I notice a partial way through. It's not really given the shape that I want. I want more of a long rectangle, not a long oval. And so I come in and I kind of turn my paper so that I can start getting more of this long rectangle. Now I still need a little bit more detail to this, so I bring in my water brush, I put a little bit of ink on the top of my ink lid and smooshing it down, add a little bit of water, and now I'm doing some splattering. And I really like the effect of the splatters giving to this page. While it's hard to see it on camera, it is really stunning in person, and I really think it gives just a little bit more of that character. So, and I'm only applying it really where I did that blending. So I'm not really going too far around my whole page, and you can kind of see it a little bit better here. So now it is time to start putting some things down. So just adding a little bit of adhesive, and when I put this down, I'm suggesting that you're going to put it down about 3/4 of an inch from the top and flush to the right side there. And now you can bring in your little strips. Now, what I really liked about this is that it looks like these strips go all the way across your page. So it looks like you used, some 10-inch strips, and really they're only 2.5 inches long, or 2 inches long at that. And so I really liked how this played out. I really wanted these to pop just a little bit more, so I came in with that linen one more time, and I distressed the 3 sides of it, making that pop. And then as you can see, I'm just putting them down for a little bit of a dry run, and I will eventually get that to come through the way that it needs to. Black would be something fine to do. I wanted to keep it subtle because my subject is my daughter, and the subject doesn't have, not the subject, I'm sorry, my pictures don't have like deep hues to them. I wanted to keep it light, and so that's why I didn't come in with the black, and I stuck with this gray accent, if you will. Again, I'm just eyeballing how much space I want to put between these, because again, the pattern calls for these to all be butted up to each other. There isn't a call for any spacing to be between them. But anyways, I wanted to do that. I wanted that. I love this. I love it when a vision that you have, or I have, comes to fruition. So, I was very excited that my vision I have in my head actually came out on paper, right? So here's where all of our pictures are going to go for the left-hand side here. I'm going to start applying those with my adhesive and just kind of getting things to go the way that I want them to do. So there's my beautiful daughter, and she is stunning. And these are pictures that obviously are not from the same day. They are not from the same event, obviously, because they're not from the same day. So it's not like this a family trip or anything like that. These are just some favorite pictures I have of her, and I just wanted to showcase her free spirit, where she is just able to have fun and just be the light wherever she goes. And because of that, it inspired my title, which was also inspired by the kit that I used to create this. So I'm going to get these all put in, and I'm going to come in with a little bit more of that linen ink, and I'm going to distress these too. Again, on camera, it's a little bit harder to see than what it is in person, but it really does make a difference when you have them down and you're looking at it in person. So I totally recommend doing this. And then I we'll adhere these down, and then we'll move over to the right hand side. Oh, I just love all these pictures. This is she just, oh my gosh, I just love her to pieces. I may be a little biased, but that's okay. So we're going to put these in like very little space is going to be left between all of these, like maybe 1/8 of an inch or something like that. So just if you needed that measurement to figure out how to space those, that's what that would look for. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in this yellow piece right here. And again, you just want to put it like 3/4 of an inch from the top. And I'm making sure that it's flush to the edge, excuse me, and then bring in my little pieces. Now I'm also going to bring that left page back in and sort of tuck it under here, and I'm just going to use it for guidance on where I'm going to put these other pieces so that it looks like it just flows from left to right. That's all, just a little visual aid. If you watch any of my videos before, or you've seen any of my lives in the Let's Flock Together Facebook group, you know my favorite way to measure is called eyeballing it. I eyeball a lot of things, and sometimes it turns out just fine, and sometimes but my biggest thing is, why don't scrapbook for perfection? I don't scrapbook to appease anyone but myself, and I also scrapbook so that my family has beautiful memories that unfortunately one day I'm not going to be here to tell these stories, and so that's why I scrapbook. I scrapbook what makes my heart happy. And that's, whatever I'm feeling when I'm creating. Sometimes it goes with trends, and sometimes it's probably not trendy, but that's okay. So I'm giving you the freedom to do the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in those photos to the right-hand side. Let's distress these so that everything flows nicely together. And that's just that linen ink again. And I'm just applying that to the edges of this green cardstock in this subtle collection from Stampin' Up. And so here we'll add in our final pictures here. And again, these are just some, like I said, they're favorite pictures of my daughter. When you scrapbook an event, it doesn't have to be, all the pictures don't need to be the same event. It can be the same subject. So here, the same subject is my daughter, and all of, some favorite things, the favorite pictures of her. I'm stumbling and I apologize. Okay. So let's get this last guy adhered down, and then we're going to work on the title and accent pieces. My title that I created is just a free, because I have Access and Cricut, it's a draw title. So all I did was draw the title on my Cricut and then cut it out. Love, life, where you bloom. And then I'm going to grab in some of those banners that they have, and we're going to cut some of those down so we can make those extend. So I don't want to use 4 of them. I end up only using 2, and some of these really pretty flowers here. So and a couple banners to go here, but again, I don't want to use the whole thing. So let's bring the paper trimmer in and cut some of these down just a little bit so that we can get 2 birds with 1 stone and extend our money here. And I'll cut the dovetail off, and then I'll use that as a guide to create a dovetail on the opposite piece here. And you'll see me do that again on the right or the left side. We're on the right side right now. And so then let's put the bigger one on the bottom and the smaller one on top, just so that it flows visually better. Of course, if you like it the other way, then by all means, you have permission to do it that way too. And then we're going to come in here and add in some accent pieces with some dimensionals. I love these things. They came in the kit, this paper pumpkin kit, and they're not too thin and they're not too thick. They're just really the perfect dimension for adding dimension. So they have a really good name here. So that title up here is going to get popped up, and that's where I'm talking about the dimensionals from. And they're hexagon. They also come in black, which I thought was really unique because if you're making something with dark and especially a card, you don't have to worry about the white being distracting on black cardstock. So I cut that so that it fit right inside that gold circle from the kit, and it was about 2.5 inches, a 2.5-inch circle. And now I'm going to pop these up on top of each other here with those dimensionals. It's the same die cut on top of each other, but it just really kind of gives it this nice shadow effect. You wouldn't need to do this. You could just simply pop the dimensions up on itself, and it wouldn't need to be that way, but I just thought it looked good. And I actually ended up moving it to the right hand side here, and I thought that really came in super cute there. And then at the bottom is where I'm going to put my journaling, and you'll see that off camera in the final picture. I don't do that on camera. Let's go ahead and add in the rest of our visual triangle here, and we're going to add in 3 flowers to the left side and 2 banners here. And again, I'm just going to cut these banners down so that I can get more bang for my money. And I'll just use one of the banners as a guide to create the second dovetail so they seem even or pretty uniform. Just cut a straight line up in the center, and then from each end cut until you meet that center line. I hope that made sense. It doesn't make sense as I'm saying it. All right, so let's go ahead and add in our beautiful little flowers here, and then I'll pop the 2 smaller ones up. And these, again, all came from the paper pumpkin kit. So the only thing I've added to this is the cardstock. Everything else is just from this card subscription kit that came in my starter kit. How many times can I say the word kit, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and add this here, and then I'm going to add a gold foiled one down there, and this is going to complete our card, or our layout. I really love how this came together. I really love the fun play on my daughter, and how these little daisies and these flowers came together. And here's the final look for this layout. Thank you so much for popping in, and I hope you enjoyed this. Till next time.